What should I know about living in the city that people probably don't know and that they should know?
I feel like it's that you don't need all the gear that you think you need sometimes. Like, I feel like when I was younger, I would be so thrown off if I didn't have like my cymbal, if I didn't have like my full drum set, and set up exactly the way that I wanted it to be. I think it's when you come to New York, you have to be able to like shed what that feels like and like get rid of that and just be able to go into any backline situation in any room and just be able to adjust on the fly and just deal with it and know that no one cares. Sometimes you go in, you're like, oh man, I hope it sounded okay. Like the snare was a little weird and blah, blah, blah. Like no one cares, man. Like no one in the audience is like, oh man, I hope they got the right snare drum today. Or I hope the wires are okay. And that little hole in the bottom head, I hope that's not throwing them off. It's like, they don't care. And I mean that in like a good way and a bad way. It's like, they're not going to care if you make a mistake because of that. They're going to let you go for that. They're not going to hold it over your head, but also they're not going to care if you try to use it as an excuse. They're just going to be like, okay, guy was in here at the 7 o'clock show and sounded just fine. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's that. And I've had a lot of talks with other drummers here that have been like, oh man, I love going to this room and playing on those drums because they sound that way in that room for a reason. And they've been through a million tunings and everyone's kind of found about, up and down which way they can go with a drum at like 54 below or at green room 42. And you just kind of know what's going to work in there. And you know how to just quickly adapt and be like, oh, this thing's ringing too much. I'm going to throw a little bandana on there, or I'm going to throw my wallet on here and we're going to make it work. And no matter what. So I think it's just that. It's just know that no one really cares about those little things that might get in your head and throw you off when you sit down on the drums in New York City. And living wise, it's like, just, know which bodega has the best bacon, egg, and cheese near you. I think that's a big thing to know that not everyone knows.